Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Lori Pierce. Today's guest is Nicole Cartner, Executive Director of Quad City Health Initiative. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk with Nicole about creating a healthier community. Can you share with us a little bit about the Quad City Health Initiative?
Sure, absolutely. So we're a community partnership. That's one of the things that I think is very unique about the work that we do. It's a true partnership of all different organizations in the community that are interested in creating a healthier Quad Cities. And so we want individuals and the community as a whole to be having the most wonderful possible quality of life.
That's great. Well, why and how did the initiative form?
So this is actually, I think, a really fun story. We've been around for 16 years now as a community partnership, as the Quad City Health Initiative organization. But what underlies our work is really this understanding that you want to have many partners in the community working together to try to create a healthier community.
Sure.
That idea actually didn't originate here. It was one that many folks in our community had been watching other communities start work on years ago. And they were inspired by what they saw happening around the country. And they said, you know, we should do that here. And so there were a group of dedicated community members who partnered with the trustees of Unity Point Health Trinity and Genesis Health System. And they created the first Quad City Health Initiative Board. And then from there, they recruited other organizations and partners to join them in creating what is today a very robust partnership. So it really grew out of our community's understanding of what wonderful things we could do locally, inspired by other things happening around the nation.
Sure. 16 years, that's wonderful.
It is actually. 16 years is a long time for a partnership like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
As you work with citizens in the community, what does it mean to create a healthy community?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things is that when I say the words healthcare, very often people think about doctors and clinics and hospital systems, and all of those are incredibly important to a community, and we're really fortunate to have the wonderful resources we do locally. But when you look at what creates health for an individual, what makes you and me as healthy as we can be, it turns out that actually about 80% of what creates our health has really nothing to do with what happens within the healthcare sector. It has to do with all the other things in our life. So for example, where we're living, the quality of the community, how safe the community is, the air quality, the water quality, and the environmental features of the community, that affects our health. Likewise, how we're living, whether or not we're choosing to create health ourselves by making sure that we're taking care of ourselves and eating healthy food and exercising and not smoking, all those health behaviors. And then finally, socioeconomic factors. So education and income, all of those greatly influence health. So if you understand that all of those things are contributing to our health, then it makes total sense that as a community we would want to work together to try to create healthier individuals and a healthier community overall.
Yeah. Well, how does the Quad City Health Initiative work?
So we have a community board, a 25-member board, and Genesis Health System and Unity Point Health Trinity, as I mentioned, are our founding sponsors, and they continue to work with us to this day on that board. And in addition, we ask individuals from all the other sectors of the community to join us. So for example, we have representatives from the education sector, and we have elected officials and folks from city government, people from planning organizations and nonprofit organizations, the education environment. So we invite all of those folks to join us on the board. And the Quad City Health Initiative Board is then the governing entity for the organization. And then the board decides what types of issues we should work on together, what our priority issues are for the organization. Sure. And then those priority issues become the basis for what we call community teams or project teams. Mm-hmm. And so each of those project teams has a certain issue that they're invested in and they're working on together. And that's where we recruit individuals from all levels of the community to participate in our work together. And then through the Quad City Health Initiative office, we provide the backbone or the infrastructure to facilitate that collaboration. So we have governance, we have participation and volunteerism, and then we have a professional staff infrastructure to support all that work.
Wow. So how do you go about finding the issues that you're going to choose to do? I mean, it sounds like you have a lot going on.
You do, and there are so many issues that you could choose from, knowing that so many different things influence our health overall. So what we've chosen here in the Quad Cities to do is base all of our decisions about priority health issues in data. So we've conducted since 2002 joint community health assessments, and this actually also really sets our community apart because we were really, I think, ahead of the curve in thinking about how to do collaborative community health assessment work. So there's a lot of data collection that happens. We do household surveys, we use secondary data sources available from health departments at local and regional levels, and we also ask individual community members, what do you think are our priority issues? And all of that information becomes the foundation for our organization to make decisions about what issues we should work on and when.
Sure. So you've gone through all that work to find out what to do. So what projects are you working on right now?
Yes. So we actually right now have a very strong focus on healthy eating and physical activity. And it makes sense because when you think about health behaviors, those are two that really cut across many of the other chronic diseases that people are often concerned about. If you're thinking about how to prevent heart disease or cancer, diabetes, it really starts with the basics. It's sort of, what I learned in kindergarten kind of approach to what we should be doing. So healthy eating and physical activity is really important. And we've known this, and actually the Quad City Health Initiative partners have been looking at aspects of these issues since 2002. But a couple of years ago, when we did our last community health assessment, we found that some things actually hadn't improved as much as we hoped. And so we decided to find a way to bring all the partners and organizations who were concerned about this issue together. And we created a coalition about 2 years ago called Be Healthy Quad Cities. And so Be Healthy Quad Cities is now our primary community team for looking at how to increase access to healthy foods and also how to encourage people to be more physically active.
Wow. So is there programs within Be Healthy Quad Cities?
Yes, exactly. So we mirror the approach that we use for developing our board with each of our project teams. So when we put together a new project team focused on a health issue, we try to recruit organizations from all of those sectors of the community and make sure that they're represented at the table. And then that coalition, that team thinks about how do we really do this? How can we really help to promote the concepts of healthy eating and physical activity in our schools and in our workplaces and in our preschools and in our local governments and our built environment in our community. And so we have work groups underneath our team that are focused on how to address issues within each of those sectors.
Wow. So do you feel that there's enough education out there for people to be healthy?
Well, there's a lot of information about how to be healthy, that's certainly for sure. And we know that, we're aware of that. What we'd like Be Healthy QC to be is a symbol for folks to understand how the organizations in our community are working together and magnifying and leveraging each other's efforts. I think a lot of times what can be confusing to folks is that they'll have information from sources and sometimes that information won't necessarily be consistent with information from another source. Or you might hear something in school and then maybe you hear something else when you're at work and then you hear something else when you're driving down the road. And so what we'd like to do is help people to understand that many of these education information efforts are in fact connected and that they really can help to amplify that message in our community. So Be Healthy QC is a way for us to help to connect the dots around our community in terms of all the great work that people are doing.
Yeah, and it seems like there is a good community effort underway to really make this all possible.
Yes, absolutely. We have a really wonderful group of people, and we were very fortunate, in fact, last year to also receive some additional funding through a grant from the Centers for Disease Control, and that's helping to promote our Be Healthy QC initiatives within the Be Healthy QC Coalition.
Oh, great. Well, where could people go for more resources if they wanted information about healthy living?
Well, we'd encourage folks to visit behealthyqc.org. That's actually a URL that we created specifically to show folks some of the work that we're doing with the coalition. And also, of course, they're welcome to visit the Quad City Health Initiative webpage, which is qchealthinitiative.org.
Wonderful. Do you have any other closing thoughts that you would like our viewers to remember?
Yes, just that it's a really wonderful thing that our community as a whole partners so well on improving health status and quality of life. We've actually received several national and regional recognitions for the work that our health systems have done together and the work that the community partners do together. And so it's a really special resource that we have here in the Quad Cities.
It is. You know, it makes me think the safe routes to school, isn't that part of what you guys do also?
Yes, it is actually. That's one of the specific initiatives under the Be Healthy QC Coalition that's related to our school team. Yeah. And they're working with elementary schools and parents and teachers and administrators within those elementary schools who are seeking to encourage physical activity by encouraging kids to walk to school or bike to school, get to school in whatever old-fashioned way they would like to, and make sure that in doing so that they're traveling routes that are safe. So that means that we've looked at the conditions of sidewalks and we've looked at the traffic on the routes that kids would take and can make suggestions for which paths are the best ones.
Right. Are there any other programs that you do within school systems?
Yes. So in addition to physical activity, of course, the other piece is nutrition and access to healthy foods. And so as part of the work through the Be Healthy QC Coalition and also the Be Healthy QC grant that we received, we're working through the Rock Island Regional Office of Education to promote nutrition within the schools. And so they're enhancing wellness policies that all of the 11 school districts in Rock Island County have created. And they're thinking about how they can encourage healthy eating throughout the school day for students as well as for the staff of the schools.
Yeah. So we have kind of schools covered. Is there anything that businesses are doing?
Yes. So, you know, we again have some really wonderful examples of businesses who have been very active in promoting employee wellness programs. And one of the things that we offered last year was a conference for work sites to come together and to share information about what they found to be best practices and how they could encourage, again, a culture of health during the workday. So they're really wonderful examples for folks to look at. And on the QCHealthInitiative.org website, there's actually a way for local businesses to apply to be recognized as a Be Healthy QC worksite. So if they're doing something that's really exceptional or they feel like it's had a great impact on their employees, we'd encourage them to contact us and fill out the application form that we have so that we can showcase them and their story as a way to inspire others to take similar action.
That's wonderful. Nicole, thank you so much for coming in and sharing information on the Quad City Health Initiative and healthy living.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Joy in Our Town.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Bill Emmer at the Illinois State Police. The Illinois Department of Transportation Traffic Safety Division is introducing the Yellow Dot program. This program alerts first responders at crash scenes of critical medical information that can save a life. The best chance for survival following a traumatic injury occurs when the injured person is seen and treated within an hour of the event. In the moments directly following a crash, seconds count. Participants are providing important medical information that can help make split-second decisions. This is how the program works. The Yellow Dot decal is placed on a clean driver's side rear window. They need to make sure the surface is clean so the decal will adhere. A yellow personal information card is placed in the glove compartment, where participants have included the following: a clear, up-close face shot that can be easily identified as a crash victim, and a completed personal information form that includes name, emergency contact information, personal physician's information, medical conditions, recent surgeries, allergies, current medications. The program is a free service provided to all Illinois citizens. Anyone can have their information on a yellow card and have it placed in the glove compartment. Participants can visit www.yellow.illinois.org for information on the program and find a local distribution center. Thanks for learning about this simple program that saves lives.
See these hands? They grip the wheel of a Humvee in Afghanistan.
These hands? 6 years treating soldiers.
12 years flying choppers.
We know you're strong, but sometimes you need a helping hand. You served us. Now let us serve you. The Iowa City VA Healthcare System.
You're watching TBN. part of the Trinity Broadcasting family of networks.
Welcome back to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Kate McGovern, and we are here with Chris Dunn. He is a member of the street team at the center. Chris, welcome back.
Thanks, Kate. Good to be back.
I'm excited to have you because I know you're going to play a song for us in this segment. So, Chris, tell me a little bit about how you outreach to the homeless through the ministry of music.
Well, it started when I was coordinator at the King's Harvest Shelter, and I would bring my guitar in the evening, and then I realized there were other players there that I was like, can I play your guitar? And I'm like, sure, and then we'd have these little informal music sessions, and sometimes it would be kind of like I would play real soft, like as they were sort of almost like lullaby, like at the end as the lights went out and that kind of thing. And other times it would be just people sharing their songs. And so then when I moved over to the center, we have this beautiful venue for music. I mean, the stage is all set up, and so we started something called the Homeless Open Mic Project, which is once a month, always the first Monday of the month, except when it's a holiday. So, and then it's at 1 o'clock on the first Monday of the month. And we have just regular folks that come and share, and they'll talk about their being homeless, and they'll really share very personal stuff. I mean, it's amazing. And we have a little bit of lunch as well during that time. But yeah, the sharing, it's almost like they use that forum to process. Like the last time we had it, this one gentleman's like, he was talking about healing that he had with his daughters, connection that had been broken and reestablished, like they said that they loved him, and then kind of pushed him to say, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want out. I'm tired of this homeless stuff, which was a good step.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Chris, would you be willing to play a song for us today?
I would.
Wonderful. So, yeah, grab your guitar. I can hardly wait to hear what you're going to play. And this is music that you play when you're at the shelter with the street team?
Yeah, this is actually a song I wrote when I was living at the Catholic Worker House in Chicago. And it was kind of commissioned, actually. This housing organization asked me to create a song, and the first time I sang it was on the street through one of those megaphones.
Wow.
I have a picture of it. It was a good moment. It's called Everybody Needs a Home. Home is where the heart is, and I love these downtown streets, but the street is no place to call a home, and in the shelter at night I can't feel so alone. Everybody needs a home, everybody needs a place to call their own. Living on the street ain't nowhere to be, everybody needs their dignity. Home is where you want to be. When you're home, you're with your family. Home is a place where you relax with friends. Home is a feeling on which you can depend. Everybody needs a home. Everybody needs a place to call their own. Living on the street ain't nowhere to be. Everybody needs their dignity. When I'm comfortable, I say I feel at home. When I'm home, I never feel alone. My home right here is where I wanna be. Home is part of the community. Everybody needs a home. Everybody needs a place to call their own. Living on street ain't nowhere to be. Everybody needs their dignity. Well, the shelters around here, they get full at night, but housing's not a privilege, it's a right. So this is what I've got to know. Why do some people have nowhere to go? Everybody needs a home. Everybody needs a place to call their own. Living on the street ain't nowhere to be. Everybody needs their dignity. Everybody needs a home. Everybody needs a place to call their own. Living on the street ain't nowhere to be. Everybody needs their dignity.
Yay, that was fantastic, Chris. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. What a beautiful song that you wrote.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, fantastic. What brings the homeless together, Chris?
You know, in positive ways and negative ways, people get together. I mean, they get together, you know. So yeah, I mean, the open mic that we have is a very positive way that people can get together, and I've seen people grow there. So yeah, obviously we're encouraging, you know, that kind of thing for people to get together in real positive ways. But they can kind of drag each other down, you know. I was talking to this one gentleman yesterday who's kind of passing through, and he befriended well, actually this younger black fellow befriended this older white gentleman, and the black fellow was showing the white gentleman around. It was just really interesting that, you know, like this guy was in his 20s and this guy was in his 70s, and he was saying, you know, when you know all the people at this meal site, that's bad. That's a problem. That's what the older guy was saying to the young guy. It's like, you're kind of knowing the wrong. You need to know people that are doing better, you know. And it's a good observation that he made.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you restore faith and hope for the homeless that you're helping?
It's so interesting because there's a gamut of. I mean, some people have deep faith, and despite their very difficult situations, I mean, their stories of you know, leaning on the Lord are just amazing, because that's what they have. I mean, they don't really have much else, and they totally lean on the Lord. And then, you know, we can help people. We can encourage, you know, to have them come and pray with us, or just, I mean, there are churches that people will go to in the area, like Timothy's House of Hope has prayer in the evenings on Thursdays, and so yeah, that's one of our partners, and yeah.
How do you feel, Chris, about the difference that it makes in the work that you do?
I love my job. I'm so, you know, it's like, you know, there's like in the Beatitudes, it's like, you know, help shelter the homeless. You know, it's like that's just like right out of the gospel. It's like going and be with people that are hungry, they're thirsty, they need to be kept warm. Yeah, I love my job.
Can you share one success story through your music ministry that you could see really made a difference in the life of maybe just one person?
Yeah, let me see. There's this guy who really just had a lot of anger and negativity, and it would just come out at the open mic, and, you know, we'd have to like curb him, you know, and be like, you know, this is like family entertainment. I mean, sometimes we have kids there. It's like, you know, we're keeping this like at a family entertainment level, and then he is, but he always wants to come. He always wants to come, and lately he's really, I don't know, he's really just settled down and been able to. I'm just really proud of him. Yeah, he's been able to pull it together, and he just doesn't seem so bitter right now. I know he's got a lot of stuff that he needs to work out, but
that actually leads me into my next question, Chris. You know, statistics say that 1 out of 5 people suffer from mental illness. You know, what are you seeing?
I would say a third.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm no statistician. Yeah, it just seems to me like we are having a lot of folks that are mentally ill, and they are particularly challenging.
They say that domestic violence is the greatest cause for women to be homeless. How true is that?
That sounds like a good. I mean, it sounds like an accurate statement to me. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. As we wrap up today, Chris, what are some thoughts, you know, that you would like to share with our viewers that, you know, maybe they could get involved, like you talked about with the Beatitudes, and begin to help the homeless? How can we get involved?
Well, one of the goals of the homeless open mic is to have normal community. So when people come and just be in the audience and just appreciate what folks are sharing, that's a great way to. And it doesn't take any big commitment if you want to come once a month at 1 o'clock on a Monday, and it's like the first Monday of the month, and just join us and sit with us and be with us. I think that has a great effect on the folks that are, I mean, the regulars that come, and it just helps them feel like people care when we have audience that shows up. So.
Okay, so 1 o'clock.
Yep.
At the center.
At the center.
In Davenport. And what's that address, Chris?
1411 Brady. And the next, every first Monday.
Every first Monday of the month.
First Monday, yeah.
Okay, well, fantastic. Chris, I want to say thank you so much for the ministry that you do through music and outreach, and the lives that you can make a difference in by the passion that you have in your heart. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity, Kate. It was nice to talk to you.
Thank you. And I want to thank our viewers today. Thank you for joining us on Join Our Town. Go ahead and check out the center and see how you can help the homeless in our community. Thank you. See you next time.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Join Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Join Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.